Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Priceless podcast. My name is Miguel, and of course, I'm your podcast host. This podcast is made in partnership with the European Forum of LGBT Christian Groups. And of course, today we have a new guest. So his name is Oliver Jenke.
Okay, so the very Swedish way of saying it would be Oliver Jenke. I identify as a trans guy. I never thought about my sexuality until I came out as trans, and then I was like, what does that mean? And now I don't know. I mean, I'm definitely not straight. I have a boyfriend. I wouldn't call myself gay either. I don't know. I call myself gay as like an umbrella term. I have had a super strong faith. I mean, of course, we will get back to this a lot, but like, I was brought up like very, very Christian, and it was very... what I'm trying to say is that now I have no idea. And if I heard myself say that like 10 years ago, I would be horrified that I've lost my way. But I have no idea where I'm at. I've always known that something was like a bit off, and I've tried to express that in different ways. Like when I was about 10, there was a question in a form at school, and it said, something special about me is, and I answered, I'm not like a girl. And I liked playing with the boys, but I also liked playing with the girls. And it was like I always had this feeling of like not really belonging, and also of society not understanding gender. I didn't have the words for it, but I knew that their view of us, the children, weren't correct because I sort of didn't fit into their view. I became a teenager, and the dreadful puberty hit, and it was the wrong puberty, I realized, and my body started doing things that I was not prepared for and that I hated, and I still didn't have words to express that. And I think that I thought that everyone hated their puberty or what their body was doing, and felt super uncomfortable. But now I know that I felt body dysphoria back then, but back then I thought I just felt like teenagers do about their bodies. And at that time I was also very into church, the church community, and a kind of conservative messages were spread in that church, and that did not leave me any room whatsoever to discover my queerness, even though I wasn't a very, like, I had many friends that were queer and like openly gay or bisexual, and I did not see a problem with that, and like they were close friends of mine, and we talked about that, and that wasn't weird. But like I allowed them to do that, but I didn't allow that thought to even enter my brain. Yeah, but then I was 24, and I was on YouTube, and I just watched a lot of, somehow, I don't know how I ended up there, but I watched a lot of videos of trans guys talking about their experiences. And that past year I had read a lot about transgender people, and I had gotten to know some transgender people, and I was on YouTube, and then one evening I was like, oh my gosh, I'm trans. My life just, it was like a puzzle that just suddenly was formed in front of me, and everything made sense. And it was really difficult, and because I didn't know a lot of transgender people, and I didn't see any happy transgender people, and I thought life would be miserable, and all of that crappy stuff that you see about transgender people. But at the same time I was really, really happy to understand that about myself, and there was also some kind of hope that like, okay, I have the answer, so maybe life is going to be easier. All of those things that I had been told and been telling myself for 24 years, that religion has told me, and that this transphobic society had told me, and all of that, it's not like you get rid of all that in a day. It's taken me 4 years to be able to actually call myself a trans guy, for example. I mean, no one told me straight up, like to my face, that if you're trans, you're going to hell. But like that was the underlying message, of everything I've been taught. So, going to hell was like maybe not like a real like understandable threat, but it was still like that was a big part of why I didn't allow myself to explore that when I was younger. But what society has taught me is, that transgender people are somehow like we're played for laughs in like sitcoms and stuff like that we're laughable, and in media we are usually portrayed as like delusional people who believe things about ourselves that we can't really understand ourselves, and we're told that we're like disgusting and a lot of crappy things. And for me it was also really difficult to grasp that other people always called me a girl or called me she, and even when I told people, hey, I'm trans, I want you to use this name and this pronoun and these pronouns, people still referred to me as she. And I was like, okay, since they seem since they see me as a girl, I can't be a guy. And I don't know, that was somehow internalized as well, or really difficult to face, to face that every day of like, no one sees me. When everyone looks at me, they see someone else. Talking about faith or anything that relates to Christianity is really like triggering to me. I would say that I got like really into church when I was 14. Like my mom and dad were Christian when I was a child, and they took me to church, and I was in like, Sunday school and stuff like that, but it was never really something that I was really invested in until I became 14, because then I was confirmated and I started going to another church that my parents weren't part of, a church that I chose myself, where I had a lot of friends, and I experienced that church as very, very welcoming, and it became a home very, very quickly for me. But the theology that we were like marinated in was also pretty conservative, I would say, and it was very it had very like charismatic tones. I mean, I've never been to a sermon called like why homosexual people are going to hell or something like that, but it was always told from the front that when you're giving examples of sins, homosexuality was always there. It was always understood that was wrong, but I thought that was something that the pastors were saying, but that no one was actually believing really, because hello, we lived in society where like our friends were gay, and how we didn't see that as a problem, right? I thought that most of my friends would be on my side, right? And so I came out to my pastor, and that was fine. Nothing happened. Like I continued being a leader, and I used they them pronouns back then, and people called me that, some people called me that, and that was kind of fine. And then a new pastor came, and suddenly he started like questioning whether or not I should be a leader in the church when I was queer. And the new pastor said in front of all of my teenagers that I had seen grow up and that I had created this safe space for. He said to them that homosexuality is wrong, and that was so devastating to me. So after that, I told my church that like I'm taking a break. I need to think about like what kind of church I want to be a part of, and what I can stand for and what I need from a church. And during that year, like almost no one reached out to me or asked me how I was. So after about a year, I said that I was going to leave that church, and that was it was one of the most difficult things I've done in my life. It was it was losing a family, and it was losing a space where I had felt so loved and at home, and it was where I belonged, getting back to the belonging word earlier. The church was my everything, in a way. I don't feel like I left church. I feel like I was forced out, because they created a space where I wasn't welcome, and that is forcing someone out. So it was never my decision to leave. I would 100% be a part of that church if I could. It destroyed everything when I realized that, oh, this church has like such a big part of their belief that I don't agree with, what else have I been taught that I might not agree with? And I felt like I was just sitting and new balls came into my lap. Like, what about this? What about this? What about this? What about this? And I didn't know what I thought about anything anymore. So, and then I connected with the word deconstruction, and I started understanding that other people were going through the same things. And that has been really helpful to me to understand that it's okay to be questioning everything and to not have control over your process. It feels like it doesn't feel like I'm breaking my faith, right? It feels like my faith is just breaking and I'm like trying to keep it together, and it's not. But it's okay to feel like that. And yeah, but right now, as I said, maybe I said it before we started. Anyway, I'm in a really like a place where everything with Christianity is really triggering to me. Like hearing songs that I used to sing, I just back off and I shut down, and like I don't want to hear it. It's just connected with so much difficult things. I still see all of these happy memories, of course, and the good things that have happened, but at the same time, I can't handle anything related to Christianity. When I left my church, I was really, really happy to find ECO, which is an organization for Christian LGBTQ plus people in Sweden. And they have been so important for me. I started like hanging out with them and going to camps with them and going to their services and stuff like that. And the thing that is so healing for me with being there is that there is no correct faith. There are no borders for what you can or are allowed or have to believe. Everyone are welcome, and I really, really feel that I can come here with my really broken faith. I can come here with no faith, and I'm welcome with my thoughts and ideas as they are. And I had never felt that before. I had always felt like, yeah, sure, we can have a little bit of room, but you always have to believe this and this and this. Being confronted with Christianity, but in a very safe way, yeah, I want to see if that can heal me somehow. But I don't know. We are starting to try to talk about Bible-related violence in ECO, the organization, and I've definitely been a victim of that, like using the Bible as a hurtful tool. Between 20 and 22, I went through a really, really deep depression and with almost daily panic attacks, and that was, I felt so bad, and I hope I'll never get there again. And I have also been like diagnosed with PTSD and have gone through like a trauma treatment. I don't know. I started a YouTube channel about 2.5 years ago, and it was, like I said, YouTube was such a big part of me understanding that I was trans. Oh, and I felt that, there need to be more voices. There are lots of great YouTubers that talk about being trans and lots of great interviews, but I just felt like there can never be enough. And I started interviewing people, and I was so inspired by the people I met. And with every person I met, I wanted to meet someone new because I found out new things, and I realized that I know nothing about people on the aro-A spectrum, the aromantic asexual spectrum, for example. And I started interviewing people on those spectrums, and I was like, oh my gosh, there's so many things about the queer community that I don't know about, and that other people probably don't also know about. It's called Queers of the World, and I know that's a very not so humble title, maybe. But I guess I just wanted to show that we are like one world and we're all a part of it. And I haven't met queers from every country in the world yet, but like I have actually interviewed someone from every inhabited continent, and I'm really proud of that. It's not like I have like sought out people because they have similar experiences to me, but hearing someone speak about something that I can in some way connect to, which is basically everyone, there are points that you can relate to in every story. it has been really, really healing in just understanding that we're so many people who are going through similar stuff, and we're not alone, and we're so strong. And I think I've been mostly inspired by the strength that is in our community.
Thank you, dear viewers and listeners, for being with us today. This podcast is made in partnership with the European Forum of LGBT Christian Groups. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to check out the links. Check out Queers of the World, Oliver's YouTube channel, and see you next time. Until then, bye everyone. Bye, Oliver.
Bye bye. Thank you.